Get ready for Christmas is our Advent theme. Don't get so busy getting ready for Christmas that you miss Christmas. Have you been starting your day with "This is the day the Lord has made"? Have you been reading a chapter from Mark every day? And my sermons have encouraged you to wake up, magnify the Lord, and today, look. Look. Have you noticed how difficult it is for men to look? The other day I asked, where is that particular knife? Ellie said, it's in the drawer. Well, I rummaged through the drawer, and I finally announced, it's not in here. Calmly walked over, put her hand in the drawer, and pulled out the knife. I have difficulty finding things in the refrigerator or in the cupboards. And our son Jack told us why. Our ancestor women were gatherers and the men were hunters. So the women searched and gathered and picked the berries and the nuts while the men hunted moving objects. Therefore, I could have found that knife in the drawer if it had been moving. Well, when my cousin Joanne was about 8 years old, it was discovered that she needed glasses. And after she was fitted, all the way home she kept saying, "Look at that. I've never seen that before. Look at that." A whole new world opened up to her. What a gift it is to see. And I found it interesting in reading the Gospel of Mark on Tuesday, chapter 8, where Jesus put spit on a blind man's eyes, put his hands on him, and then asked, "What do you see?" And the man said, "I see people, but they look like trees walking." It's difficult for us sometimes to see. So get spiritually ready for Christmas by sharpening your eyesight. Be alert. Now, what do we look for? What do we look for? Well, Paul gave us a beautiful list, which we just heard read. Finally, brothers and sisters, he said, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, think on these things. If there is any excellence and anything worthy of praise. So, where are we most apt to see honorable, just, pure, and so forth? Where? In other people. In other people. But sometimes some people get in the way. Does it seem to you that rudeness is on the increase? Shops have difficulty hiring people, hiring workers, and they are short-handed, and too many customers get impatient and get rude. Some churches have difficult people. Do you believe that? Did you know that? Some churches have difficult people. A colleague once told his congregation that evidently at the entrance to the church grounds there is an invisible box. And members take out their brain, put it in the box, and then go to the church committee meetings. He was not very popular. In a neighboring church in Minnesota, one Sunday the congregation arrived to see a casket up front. They didn't know there was a funeral, but the pastor proceeded to conduct a funeral service without naming the deceased. Now, it was the custom in those days that after a funeral, the congregation would file past to pay their final respects. On this occasion, when they filed past and looked into the casket, they saw a mirror. A mirror. The pastor thought it was a dead church. He was transferred, would you believe that? Well, I did not go to such extremes with difficult church people. I discovered that when you look behind the anger, when you look behind they're sure that they are right, when you look behind the obstruction, you realize that their behavior is not necessarily directed at me, nor the situation, but they've been having trouble at work, or they had a marital fight. Those who felt inadequate at work or at home, you see, could come to church and could compensate by feeling important. In other words, get spiritually ready for Christmas by looking at other people in a new way. When I am tempted to be rude to the telemarketers, I stop and reflect on how they are doing their best to put food on the table, to pay the rent, to take care of their kids. Take a breath, slow down, and appreciate the people around you, the situations. Take a moment to look at the sorrow on a woman's face, or the pain in a man's eyes. Look with compassion and imagine what your slight interaction might mean to them. Often we wait for the big event to happen or wait for the next destination, and we miss what is happening right around us. Just think about the people you see every day, that you pass, that you brush shoulders with, and think how you could interact with them by looking. These interactions are small moments, tiny and insignificant. They have no weight, they have no significance, but they have power. For these little moments of interaction all add together, sum up into a beautiful experience and opportunity. And these are missed when we are impatient or hurried. Take time to look. Paul told the Philippians to look for whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable. In our sermon scripture study last Wednesday, and by the way, we are not meeting this coming Wednesday, Pam reminded us of how the George Floyd shooting launched a pursuit for what is just, especially the Black Lives Matter movement. Pastor G watched his son David, age 6, and he's here this morning. Say hi to David. Pastor G watched his son David on the playground at school, stop his playing, interrupted his playing because he saw a little girl who had fallen. And he yelled until her mother came. Pastor G saw his son's behavior as commendable and admirable. Mike commended two union leaders who helped organize their work sites, even though they would personally take a hit. They were more concerned about the workers they represented than themselves, doing what is right. Our sermon scripture study group met on Wednesday, December 7th, the day Pearl Harbor was attacked. And Ellie remembered how her uncles immediately left their homes, left their work, and the next day volunteered to fight for our country, doing what is honorable, right, and just. Pam commended the care team of our congregation who reach out to the homebound and those in care facilities. And soon cookies will be delivered to all of them, doing what is pure, what is lovely, and commendable. Look at people differently, and look at Jesus. We sang, "Turn your eyes upon Jesus." And where do we see Jesus? We see Jesus in other people. And we see Jesus at where Jesus is at work. Jesus was 12 years old when they couldn't find him. His parents, they had gone to Jerusalem to the temple for the feast of Passover. And while on their way home, they realized Jesus was missing. Can you imagine what they must have felt? What if we've lost him? What if we never see him again? What if he's lost in the desert? Well, what if somebody took him? What if somebody harmed him? Oh, the worries must have been endless. So quickly they returned back to Jerusalem, and they found Jesus where? In the temple. And Jesus told them, well, I must be about, quote, my Father's business. So look for Jesus today where he is about his Father's business. Look at Jesus where he is at work and join him. Jesus told us, feed the hungry, give something to drink to the thirsty, clothe the naked, take care of the sick, visit the imprisoned, and make disciples. And for us, support the joy-giving projects where Jesus is at work. Get spiritually ready for Christmas. Look at people differently. Look for what is true, pure, honorable, right. Look for Jesus at work.